All right, guys, time to start our stream today. We need music. We need music. 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 All righty. All righty. So I've been redoing which may not be the same as what Can's doing, but I noticed that both Can and I are doing kind of the same thing, which is we're not using the we're not using the good morning. We're not using that left-hand side at all. And instead, both of us are just writing directly onto the pages. And so my thought was, I'm going to go on ahead and just delete that left-hand side and give us all the room for this. And then that way I can just draw directly in, because that's really what needs to happen, is I just need to draw directly in. I've been doing this with this entire left side that never gets used at all, and instead trying to squeeze as much data into the right side and writing not enough information in. And so how are you doing this morning, Brent? Just barely working. I understand that one. I'm okay. I'm functioning within normal parameters. There we go. This way I can take notes above the actual zone here. So there we go. That little blue bar is there to remind me that I'm not supposed to actually, I'm supposed to write. This is one of the things that was messing up on the other one too, which is I was not putting enough, or I was putting the information on the things below some pages and above others. And then it ended up being just confusing because like I didn't know where I was supposed to go. And so it became unpleasant. So we're going to fix that here. Yeah. I do think one of the things I want to do, though, is illustrate a bar which goes right here. And the reason for this bar is to indicate that there's a stop in this right here. Nope, we've gone too far. We've gone too far. We've gone too far. So this, to some degree, mimics the actual layouts from it mimics the layouts that are in Clip Studio. So when we look at like this, not this one, not this one, not this one. When we look at it, doesn't really matter. It mimics the layouts. You have to trust me on this. It mimics the layout. When it mimics the layouts, it looks at least understandably. The thing I find fascinating is set up like this, the way that they were talking about manga being having 3 peaks, right? There's a peak here and a peak here and a peak here. It's interesting that lined up like this, where they're all laid out correctly, all 3 of those peaks are directly on top of one another. I'm not sure that was intentional, but it is fascinating to me. So I find that interesting, and a lot more interesting than I'm like, that's interesting. Right? Okay, so I have color coded for my own benefit here. I've color coded everything to show the stress peaks of the story, right? If I build the story correctly, the stress peaks are in these darker green areas. And then the lighter green indicates where it's less stressed. The red indicates the low point in the story. It doesn't have to be super low, but it is the lowest point in the story, where if you set up the pattern to go peak and then it drops down and then comes back up for that final peak, it gives a very satisfying feel. So do the best that I can to try to hold into that zone as much as possible. But I'm not gonna, it's a rule of thumb, not a hard and fast rule. So I'm gonna try that. So now that we've done this, I'm gonna switch over my layouts, because I've got these 2 layouts here where I've been getting kind of into this thing here, kind of going for it, and it's not as good as I want it to be. So, and you can see part of the problem here is on this left side, I've got nothing going on, right? And whereas everything is crammed into here. And I'm thinking I could use this for a lot more usage than what we were doing before, right? So if we do this, then it's Meryl Navin, power, etc. We can just take these. We'll actually just kind of do this, right? And go copy and paste. And a little bit more space, yeah? Yeah, not much, but a little bit more, right? It's still not bad, right? Godzilla me. Godzilla me. Right? Right? Right. And then these happen right here. Right around this guy. And now all of a sudden I'm sniffly. Ugh. Right. So this indicates low point right here. We'll move this guy and deselect to here. And we'll move these guys to here. And then I like the fact that I've like totally drawn the last two panels. Last pages are here, like totally drawn. It's very funny. All right. Now we have episode Momentary Ghosts issue 2 transferred from here, where we're not going to actually keep it. Do not save. And we'll do the same thing with issue 3, but issue 2 has now been transferred, which is good because like this is better. This is a better layout. I can see a little bit more of the overview, which is really what I need to do. Like I need to be more cognizant of what the overview is and then be able to drill down. And so looking at our overview here, I can kind of see where I've got my, because really the biggest problem that I'm having when I write is keeping things simple. Like I want to put 62 scenes in each comic, and I can't have 62 scenes. In fact, 5 is pushing it, you know? I blow my nose, Anne. All right. So now we know sort of how this will lay out. The size of these isn't that different at this point in time. The biggest difference that we've got right now is just that I've given more room to things, right? So now I have the ability to write up here as well, which gives me a lot more I wonder if I should just, kind of looking at this still, whether I should give more like this, right? Like if I were to take you and just come in here like so and shave as much off of the tops as I can, right? Give me as much room as I can to write on here. Also make it very clear where the top of these are. There we go. Now we can work on his momentary ghost part 2. Now we can make it really confused and mad. There we go. I like that a little bit better. More room up here to write stuff. No! Use that tool instead. Me. I like this scene between Arbo and Meyrel. That's a good scene. It's solid. Right? I mean, like, that's a solid piece. All right. I put everything in their respective spots. So now I'm going to save this as in here is the setup. Or in here is, I'm going to say issue 2 setup. I'm going to make sure we call this correct. Episode 1, issue 2 setup. We're calling it that. And then once we're done kind of fleshing this out and getting to the point where we actually like it, this will end up being our script. And it'll be weird, but you know what? It works, and that'll be fine. And so we'll clear it out, and this is the way scripts are done. This is the way. But legitimately, I've been writing scripts in Word for years, and the truth of the matter is that's one step that just is not necessary for me. The more I think about this, the more I'm like, this comes out better. I can interact with the actual paper and go back and forth with the way that the panels sit and everything like that. This is far, far better, and it skips a step. So frankly, no need for it, right? So now we'll do episode 3. And I will use a different color just to delineate. for episode 1. Yeah, exactly. I feel like the nature of who I am, I've been hamstringing myself by typing it the entire time. Like, it's not the way it works. It works a whole lot better this way. And there's more room to tell the story with visual, right? Because, like, if I can get away with just showing pictures, then it's already in the script. There it is, which is something I can't do with the other ways of doing these things. So I just can't do it that way. And that's fine. That's fine. We will not judge. Why didn't I copy the X? Oh, the X is on a different thing. Now we've got a lot more chatter going on these pages. Did I say go half? I did. Which makes this right here, oddly. It's one of those things, sometimes you try to deny your nature, and it does not work. No. And that's all we got from here, and that's fine. This one did a whole bunch of wrap up, and I didn't like the feel of that. The flow was a little weird. But we can now save this as let's say new folder. We'll put this one in here and say episode 1, issue 3 setup. There. All right. All right. Let's get in here and start looking around what we got. So with this, we have two scenes that are kind of moving along. Oh, really? Please select the correct layer. Thank you. I have it set to select wherever the pixels are from underneath here. But sometimes it just you miss the text because there's a hole in the middle of the text, like an A or an O or whatever. You get right in the middle, and then it grabs the background like that. And it's like, no, I don't want you to grab the background. You should grab the foreground like that. And it's like, ugh. But I like when I've got multiple layers, I like it to do that. I just, it's harder than it looks. It's just not the same without you visiting. You know that, right? Yeah. It's totally not the same unless you visit. Meow. Meow. You're a floof. He's like, look, a window. Yeah. Same window. It's always been the same window. Nothing changes. All right. So now we're looking at what we've got as far as the scene goes. Each scene has a goal, right? So when we talk about scene construction and how scenes are built, you kind of set it up for what each scene wants to do, right? What do we want to do in each scene? Do we want to visit with George? We want to visit with George. Want to visit with George? Is that what we're after here? Yeah, what we need? We need a George visit. So when I talk about scenes, do that. There we go. The scenes that we're looking for, we've got a couple of scenes here. So we want to make sure each scene has a goal and that we accomplish that goal, either a positive or a negative, to further the story. Breaking scenes down is a kind of a thing. Oops, sorry, I shocked you. We were looking at your baby pictures last night. We found your baby pictures. You and your zillion paw polydactyl thing you've got going for you. Hard to believe that little floof ball turned into you. Kind of a monster cat. You know. Brent says hi. See? He said hi. He totally said hi. Hi, Brent. You are a character. You are definitely a character. Zot. Boy, it is staticky today, isn't it? And you definitely have a static charge. It's a good thing this isn't my 386. We would have popped my 386 right away. Just scratching you would have caused my 386 to die. Last night, Brent, I was going through my 90s memories folders, trying to organize pictures because I realized that all of my stuff from the 90s has just traveled with me for years and years and years with no sorting. And so I've got a folder that's all of my artwork, and then another folder which is all of my artwork plus some more artwork, and then another folder which is all of my artwork, all of the plus artwork plus some more artwork. And so I ended up with like 12 copies of certain pieces of artwork, which is fine, but I really only need one copy, and it doesn't need to be fouling my, all my artwork needs to go places and be places, but it doesn't need to be in the middle of all of this, right? Right? You agree. You always agree. So somewhere in there, I found this VidSpeed test, which was like the first VidSpeed test I had ever done on my IBM PC. And I saved it. And it was from May of 1991. And it was the first time I had tested my video card, which was on board. But it's still one of those things because it registered that it was a 8086 386 SX without a math coprocessor. It was like, that was a thing. And it's funny because still hanging out over here. I still have. He's like, I stole your chair. I still have this guy. It's kind of hard because it's not wanting to focus on it. But there you go. And entertainingly, there's its math coprocessor. And after all these years, I still have its math coprocessor. But yeah. Right? Like, it's really an Intel i386, and right there is its DX40 math coprocessor. It says Advanced Micro Devices AMD 386 DX40 math coprocessor. So there's my original 386 brain from back in the day. And I keep it in that drawer up there. Keep it with me all the time to remind me where I started. I don't think that math code, I don't think anything would work anymore. I doubt that would be even operable today. But still cool. Right? So, yeah. Keep that around to remind me of where I began 100 years ago. I built that 386 too. That was back in the days when you went to the store and you picked up the processor and it was in a box, and then you picked up 2 pieces of memory and that was in a box. And that first PC I built, that 386, had 2 1 megabyte sticks that I ran for its memory. And then it had a 10 megabyte hard drive. And I hooked it up to a 300 baud modem, which my dad had and he gave me. And it was one of those modems where you took the phone and you stuck it in the top into the little like pouches so that it would sit, and then you'd hit the transmit button and you'd listen for its handshake and listen for it to connect. Then your mom would pick up the other extension and start yelling at you, because that was the way it was back then. But Mom, I'm on a BBS. I don't care. Get off the line. I need to use the phone. I remember that was like my big adult moment, was when she installed a frickin' second line just so that I could get on the stupid phone so that she wouldn't have to interrupt my phone calls. Then all of my buddies found that out and they started calling in the middle of while I was trying to connect to people to talk to me at night. And they would call, and then I would answer then it would, it'd be communicating, and then it'd beep, beep. The call waiting would, and all of a sudden it'd be like, and you get garbage. Oh, those were the days. Those were the days, folks. You young people have no idea. Oh, it was good. No, that was good stuff. Good stuff. This is me processing what I'm trying to do here. I think about that versus this monster. I mean, even though my processor on this machine's only an i5, it's a 6-core i5. And so it's like, that was a 1-core at 33 megahertz. And we were grateful. 33 megahertz. I mean, one of my cores is like an order of magnitude faster than that. Just one of my cores on this new machine. Just one. I even have a pair of Pentiums, the original Pentium chips, the ones that had the floating point error. I have a pair of those guys sitting over there too. You're like a quad core blanket thing. It's like a total word here that I can't think of, but yeah. Blanket core. It's like hardcore except with blankets, right? Like blanket core. Hardcore blanket core. Sleepy core. All right. I am. So there's some part of my brain that is showing me an image of Alex doing something to cause the Polaris to show up. But I can't get the story to fit it. Like, I almost imagine Alex standing there with her arms out and like power all around her and like energy and things like that. And the Polaris then shows up. But that feels like somebody would figure that out. You know what I mean? It's hard to keep her a secret if she does something like that. So I don't know if I want to do that just yet. That is certainly not going that way. I'm kind of doing the because it's like that's probably too well. I mean, I don't know. Could we? Because that would give the audience something that our crew doesn't have. It could be interesting in that instance. It might not be bad. Now I just have to make it work in my head. So thinking it out, how do we do this? Yeah, that's what I'm doing. She doesn't need to overhear it. She knows what's happening. And that's part of the there's magic something going on. So on the ship, yeah, she knows. Alex knows that they're about to do something. In fact, it originally Alex knows that they're about to do something, and even the cat doesn't know what's going on because the cat doesn't sense it. Right. So I think, and it's starting to form here, it's starting to actually sound out in my head. What I think is going on is at the end of page 18, Chang has decided to foul the system. In fouling the system, it's going to make it difficult for any ship to travel through it, which is going to pretty much hurt Moment, right? Because like it'll be difficult to get supplies in and out. It'll be difficult to do all of these things, and so I think what we do here is this scene here. Let's move through this scene. This section right here, going to here, is preparing to foul the system. Right. No, even better. I know what we want. Here is Alex and the cat. Hang on. I got this. That will make it hard to help Moment. Right? Hey, village idiot. Can't let that happen. Okay, so that's this scene. Alex says, hey, the cat says that'll make it hard to help Moment, right? Because like the planet can't be helped if she fouls the system. Again, Facebook's been having real problems with not just you, but Cat. Then she says effectively, I'm going to stop her. You know, how are you going to do that? You're a 14-year-old girl. Watch me, you know. Okay. So off they go. Off she goes to do that. Then it's prep the ship. Are you sure? No choice, right? Because Chang has no choice. Bennett asks, are you sure? I want to make sure that this, this is clear. Whatever, if Chang does this, it's going to foul the system for years and years and years and years. All right. And so once we get to here, Kittiwake takes off. We should probably do something with the senator. understands, right? And then right here is where the kittiwake starts to do the thing, right? So that's the low point of the story. Like the worst thing is happening here right now, which is Kittiwake has no choice. The Kittiwake has to foul the system so that it delays the incoming bad guys so that they won't be there to foul to mess up the system. And that's when Alex on the planet does the magic thing. And what she's really doing is summoning a thread, right? Something that even the cat's not sure she can do. She summons a thread, bringing the thread to Moment, which is a different thing altogether. Because it's already sort of started. When she got transported to Moment, it opened up a small crack in the universe there, and she's summoning that thread. So she starts to summon the thread. The thread opens up, and Better Spec sees something here and says, hold on. Right? Then the thread opens. Right here. Definitely something happening. And then the Polaris appears. There we go. I like that. That works. So breaking the system down now, breaking the story down. Then I've got these pages to wrap the story up, talk about what happened, and then the last page is Alex joining the ship. Nobody knows, though, that she did that because she was on the planet. But we, the audience, know that there's something else going on with Alex. That feels very satisfying. Like, that would be a satisfying 3-part. We all kind of agree. I mean, that feels pretty solid there. I think so too. I feel like that would be a good... And we're talking about 96 pages total for all 3 parts. That'd be solid, right? Yeah. I'll make it an even 100. There'll be 4 pages of omake, but unfortunately, at 32 pages to be your quads, there's nothing I can do about it. Like, I'll put a 4-page, technology of Bellatrix Rising at the end or something. I mean, heck, just the covers alone would have to be on the back. I mean, like, because there'd have to be like a something going on there. I like this. This is good. I like this a lot. Oh, I hate standing up though. All right. Good. So now there's a couple of things that we need to make sure we plug in. Right? Right? Because like here, I fear she will do something dumb. Right? Like something like that. Like I fear that, Alex says something to the effect of, I fear that she'll do something not dumb, but I'll come up with a better wording for that when we get to that scene. But somewhere in here we have to talk about so many dead. Like somewhere in there, Alex is going to have to take it on herself that all these people died because of her. You know what I mean? Like there's somewhere she's going to have to realize that all these people are dead because of her in some way or another. She's just going to have to take that in. Because part of the reason she's doing this is doing this is that you can't let them know. And then I have a plan. Something like that. You know what? I hate that whole, like, that thing. That's such a trope. I've got a better one. How about this? You can't let them know. I can just not know. That's better. That's a better trope. Like, she can let them know, just not right now. And she knows that now. Just saying. Can let it go. uh, I can't help myself. Okay. I feel like that's pretty good. I feel like this gives us like, and we've got something going on in every page to some degree. Bellatrix the Musical. I'm not opposed. Just saying. Okay. This is a big scene right here. No. This is a big scene right through here. And this is a scene right through here. Right? We've got a lot of stuff going on before the musical. This adds an entire thing now to an episode down the road. We have an episode down the road where there's a ship out there working on a thread ship. and they're sitting there doing all of this like hard work on this thread, and you literally have like the perfect lineman on board, but she can't tell you that she's a lineman, right? That she can use. First of all, using dark music to do this would be freaky to the Unity, for one, which is part of this whole thing. There is a conflict between the Commonwealth and the Unity about using dark music, which is the music is the magic, so to speak, that manipulates physics through these cracks in the universe. So exploiting dark music is going to be a problem child anyway. And so the fact that they're going to misunderstand Alex, so she needs to let it into their world slowly, because she can't just let them have that information. She's using this flaw in physics to do these things, and we can't let that happen. So, all right. What are you doing, you weird little cat? Being weird, clearly. All right. Now I feel like we've kind of gotten all of this in. I'm going to save it. Then I'm going to eject this because we don't need this anymore. All right. Now I think issue 2 and 3 fit together very well. And they fit pretty well with issue 1. Now I just think it through, and we just need to do all the little things in between. Right? So let's look at what we need to build for this while we're thinking it through. Yeah, I've got Alex, the cat. The cat should be pretty easy. Yeah, we're gonna need wastelands. That's a good one. So let's start a list. So we're gonna need wastelands. We're going to need a landing pad. With connections. For the Kittiwake. We need that front observation room. And Chang's quarters. We should probably figure out our cat. You're right. And fix Alex. Yeah, we'll need to finish the destroyers. Okay, what else we got? Right, that's pretty good. That's the bridge. We've already got the bridge. This is... We'll need the Polaris. Polaris. We're going to have to finish that. That's going to be a big mess. Probably should be the 427 saying we hitched a ride. Let's open up 2 and make sure we've got all of the things for 2 as well. Because we might as well look in here. That's the pilot house. Right. And that's medical. So we don't need to worry about that. This is engineering, though that's a big problem. So go back over here. Engineering. Right. The mess hall's already done, so we don't have to worry about that. So right here, this is the loading ramp. We already have that. And then we need vignettes of the city. Right. We'll need the cap. That's another thing we're going to need. And a construction mech. We already have vehicles for that, so that should be fine. Right. Looking here. That. And then we build the city back up. This is either observation or... In fact, this could be observation and make it probably better. Right. And like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or so. So 7 scenes, give or take. I think that when you look at, like, say, Can's work, when Can is doing his comics, it's 7 or so scenes per issue. 6 or 7, 7 or so. And kind of when we look at the first issue of this, it was a lot of cut scenes back and forth, and we didn't really need that. But I think the big thing we're going to need is just engineering. Which that looks like that's it. Kind of setting up what we need for this. I think that could pretty much cover everything. We've already started doing things like I started working on the Polaris. That's not that big of a deal. We've got a landing pad sort of out there. The Wastelands can double for the landing pad as well. Because whatever rubble we put around where Alex is, we're going to be putting the Wastelands too. I don't blame you. Tea sounds awesome. Yep. I feel like that's a much better setup for the last two. All right. Well, there you go, guys. That's how you break down an episode or a couple of issues so that they're relatively straightforward. Now we ask ourselves some important questions. Did we solve what happened in Moment? And I'm not sure we did. And I think that needs to be here. I'm the reason moment moved. Because I think that's important. I'm the reason the moment moved. We need to put that in here. Okay. Good. Oh man, I'm not sleeping well at night. Well, we knew that. Okay. This is where I think these things through and make sure that all my plot holes are covered. Because you want to make sure that you don't have anybody going, wait, well, what about that one thing, right? Well, Momentary Ghosts is about the episode. The whole episode is set up in issue 1 with what happened at Moment, right? We've solved that. What happened at Moment was she happened at Moment, which happens to also be the answer to the other mystery, which is who is she? Whatever she is, she's a mystical creature of some sort that is going to add herself to the ship's complement. Is she benevolent? Is she malevolent? We don't know. We'll find out as time goes on. But I think that this one line right here on page 21, where it says, you can't let them know, and she says, I can, just not right now, kind of speaks to her being benevolent, not malevolent, because she's probably going to be nice and not tell them, and tell them what's going on and stuff like that. But she does need to navigate that, and she needs to be careful about when she lets that information go. Which won't be for many episodes. In fact, we're going to pretty much lie low on this part of the story until we're 6 episodes in. At the end of the first act of the large arc. The first act of the large arc ends with her having to reveal this information to Chang. But that's 6 episodes from now. All right, now looking at this. let's talk about salting the story. Salting the story is something that I like to do, where I sit there and say, okay, do we have interesting character interaction? Now that we've set up all of these things, what character interaction do we have? Where is there something interesting or unique between characters, where they're talking to one another, where we can give bits of their character and personality to each other? Obviously, we've got a great opportunity here, right? So this character moments should be between, this is Bennett and Chang. Banter. Right there. Give them a little bit of their banter there. Right. And this is going to be all about Alex and the cat trying to bring back the memories. That's what needs to happen in this scene, though. Now that I'm thinking about it, I totally see this. So she's saying unfamiliar stars. She's sleeping under the stars, sort of thing, out on the. And she sees the cat hiding. You know, I wondered how long it would take before you showed up. It's because you guys are pests. Right. And do you want food? The smoke is billowing. The cat sits at the fire. Right. The blankets have become you. Boop. One thing that's really nice about George is he started out with really coarse fur, but now he's gotten fluffier. His fur is less coarse, which is nice. Yeah, see, now you're attacking. I don't want to be attacked. A lot of dead people here. Right. I feel like if I go 2 pages, that's a good one, right? And then here's how much do you remember? Some fragments. I remember the ship blowing up. Yar. We start at 10 p.m. 10 p.m. Mountain. That's 11 your time. Is that too late? Hey, Kat's gonna be on tonight to talk about social media. That's fair. Kinishinaide. I'm doing good. We're doing what I'm doing right now is breaking my last two or next two issues down. So, I took a screenshot of the page where the story page where it's got all the story things, and then brought them into its own page, and then now what I do is I just write on the pages direct, and as the scenes congeal with me, I go from a rough idea of what's on this page, like you can see down here where I've just got a rough idea, and then to much more detailed writing like right here. And then at some point I actually start inking in or roughing in, and then I end up with a thumbnail. And I was originally saying when I started this, I was like, I've been writing these scripts in Word, and it's just not organic enough for me, and I end up with really stilted dialogue, and it doesn't feel good, and every panel has words in it, and there's no ability to just show, right? I can't just have 5 pages of a character walking through the rubble or something like that, because I feel compelled to write something all the time. And here, this has become much more organic doing it this way. This is a very organic way of doing it. So for me, this works really, really well. And I don't know why I have resisted this all of my life. So in the end, this will become my script. But it allows me to have much more of, yeah, I've got pages. She walks through the freaking destruction for pages, right? Because like that's what she's doing here, right? Because we've got to show that she's walked for a good day or so. She's got to be quite a ways away from, right? So here we've got her walking, and then she's just going through the buildings, and there's no survivors. There's X's on buildings where they've looked for survivors. There's nothing. Da, 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 da. And then it's, nighttime here, and then that's when she starts to break down and cry. In fact, looking at these two scenes right here, I feel like that might not be a bad thing to do something to the effect of moving something like this. So sort of showing that the sun is rising on this, right? So we've got kind of the sunrise coming up there. Kind of these guys kind of going like that. Showing these guys talking, they're looking over the reconstruction, sort of kind of talking about this. Because this guy should be... This is good too, because this is... Now I'm starting to think through the story, right? So these pages don't have anything on them, these three, right? So we'll just do this, then this. And in the end, will be her like this in the fetal position. And just sob. Right? Wreckage all around her. And then we'll put, as this last panel here is all black, just maybe even a moon to indicate that it's nighttime. So this way, it gives you sort of the transition of the next morning, right? So this is nighttime, right? She's looking here like this and starting to cry. Like that. And then she's, down on her knees, sort of like this. Really lost. And I may want to change my position on this one because it looks like the same thing. But let's not do it that way. So and I'll make it already start to be dark. Like that. So there's only 4 panels on that one, but it sort of illustrates it. Which is the positive side. I think positives to the right and negatives to the left. So we may want to reverse these. So, all right. Right, George? You can't say anything because you're busy yawning. Weird cat. Just a weird cat. Alrighty. So this says sit rep right here. So we're going in here. Chang and the senator are talking in the observation lounge. That's all right. We got situation rep. So the 427th is 6 days away en route. A medical team, a hospital ship. We should make it a hospital ship. The UMC Mercy is a week out. All cats are weird, especially Tormund and George. They're both very strange. And just that's a DD squadron. Right, so the 427th Destroyer Squadron is 6 days away. The Mercy is a week out. We just have to hold on. And this is the problems with being on the other side of the wall. The hospital ship should be named Mercy. I love that. Hospital ships should be named things like Mercy. I've always liked the name Mercy, especially for a hospital ship. And with 2 engineering ships. Like, I mean, you think about this. This is a planetary disaster. So the first thing that's going to come in is a destroyer squadron. That's 6 ships, 6 destroyers. And that's the first thing that'll show up. And then the second thing that shows up is the Mercy. And she's coming in with 2 engineering ships. So that should help quite a bit. Industrial sized replicators. Too bad we don't have a thread. Something like that. And that's good. Right? Oh, little sisters of mercy, but it isn't there to save your life. And good luck. Mr. President. Because he's the president now. The senator has become the temporary president until elections can be held, because the actual government on moment is gone. Or at least what's left of the government is gone. So temporarily, he's Mr. President. And then these 2 pages are on the bridge. And then as we wrap the story here to the end of issue 2, we're on the bridge. She's on, Captain Cheng comes out on the bridge and sits down in her chair. She's doing her, like, here's my report stuff, you know. And then it's, you know, we've got a signal, sir. And she does the, because like I said, I love that scene in Tora, you know, where he goes, you know, we've got a signal on the radar, and that's that squadron of B-17s coming back. It's not Tora, it's Pearl Harbor, isn't it? It's the movie Pearl Harbor. It's the only good part of the movie Pearl Harbor. The attack on Pearl Harbor is awesome in the movie Pearl Harbor. The rest of it's really kind of useless. But the attack is really cool. Anyway, in Pearl Harbor, where they're like sitting at the radar station, and they're like, I've got a big hit on the radar. Ooh. That's just that flight of B-17s coming back in from maneuvers. And it's like, no, I don't think this is the B-17s. You know? Shoyu, Hiryu, Zuikaku, Soryu. Those are the 4 carriers that were coming in. 353 planes that came off of those carriers. And their signal. Nitaka ni Nobore. Climb Mount Nitaka. Tora. Tiger. And there you go for your ending of the show statement there. We have now broken down a good portion of issue 2 and 3. I'm very satisfied with the way they feel. I wasn't as satisfied before with the way the episodes felt, but these feel really nice and solid. I feel like we wrap this story really nicely. We get ourselves some fun stuff going on here. I get to show some more mecha. And I introduce all the elements that are in this comic. Bellatrix Rising has a little bit of mystical magic that is being used as well, but we don't understand it all yet. And we've got mecha and we've got big spaceships. So, this is the way. So there you go, guys. That's the name of that tune. Now I've got 40 billion trillion jobs to do. I've got like 5 jobs to do today. That's a lot of jobs for me. It's a lot of power slots I've got on my to-do list. So we're going to try to get as many of them figured out as possible. But I've got to get the Chang cutout printed out correctly, because they printed her out, but she's short. So we've got to get her printed out at the right size. So there you go. So we'll be working on that. And then once that's done, then we can go on to more important things. So cool. Well then, guys, I will talk to you all later. Thanks for joining me. I will see you all tonight. And tonight, like I said, Kat will be joining us to talk about social media. Oh, wait. Okay. How could you tell she's short? Oh, well. Yeah, she should be 5 foot, like 5'1" tops, and they printed her at like 3.5 feet. That's a little too small. I'm just saying. So we've got to go and figure out what to do with that. Did you want me to wait for you to show up on the show, or can I go on ahead and close the show out, Can? Because I am going to go pretty soon. So I got like a lot of these jobs to do. Okay, I can close the shot. I'll see you all tonight. Keep your eyes on the stars. Goodbye.